What really catches your eye? First is the flashy book cover, the eye-catching packaging, or the game's art style, shown through a few screenshots or trailers. From just those tiny hints, we build quick assumptions about what that product or game will bring us. Oh, this looks medieval, bloody fiery, must be hardcore, or that anime vibe. Definitely a chill waifu game. However, sometimes those sugar-coated, colorful-looking games actually conceal bitter, brutal challenges within the kind of difficulty that makes even the fastest, sharpest players want to pull their hair out. So let's explore some games that look cute, but play too hard. Super Meat Boy has its roots in a Flash game called Meat Boy. Developed by Edmund McMillan and Jonathan McIntyre back in 2008 on Newgrounds. The full version was released in 2010 for Xbox 360 and PC, later spreading across platforms like Nintendo Switch, PlayStation, and mobile. In the game, you play as Meat Boy, a skinless red cube of meat, fighting through hundreds of deadly stages to rescue his girlfriend Bandage Girl from the villainous Dr. Fetus. The story is simple, but delivered in a dark, cheeky, and slightly twisted indie style. Every level in Super Meat Boy is like a miniature war zone, packed with spinning saw blades, deadly spikes, and surprise traps that demand lightning-fast reflexes and razor-sharp precision. You'll die hundreds, even thousands of times. But unlike other hardcore games that leave you exhausted, Super Meat Boy keeps you hooked, thanks to instant response, fast pacing, and silky smooth controls. Beneath its cartoony art style and goofy humor lies a brutally difficult platformer, tailor-made for anyone who craves pain and is willing to spend hours chasing that flawless, perfect run. If Super Meat Boy feels too colorful for your taste, let's head into something darker. Enter Hollow Knight, one of the most beloved indie games of the past decade. First released by Team Cherry on February 24, 2017, the game takes you to Hollow Nest, a once glorious kingdom now reduced to ruins, and inhabited only by a few scattered souls. Clinging to sanity, the eerie black-eyed masks, haunting melodies, and melancholic atmosphere draw you in immediately. But don't let the beauty fool you. This is a true Metroidvania with punishing difficulty. Boss fights demand patience, and the ability to quickly learn attack patterns, or face repeated death until you master them. Exploration isn't much easier either. You'll get lost in twisting corridors, stumble into brutal battles against terrifying creatures, and even run into enemies willing to sacrifice themselves just to drain your health bar. Worst of all, if you die, you risk losing all your precious resources, unless you make it back to the place you fell. Hollow Knight enchants you with its atmosphere, but challenges you with gameplay depth and merciless difficulty. Released in 2018 by the indie studio Mad Makes Games, later renamed Extremely OK Games, Celeste quickly became a modern classic in the platformer genre. Players will take on the role of Madeline, a young girl burdened with anxiety, self-doubt, and inner struggles. She decides to climb Mount Celeste, a mysterious peak that everyone warns is nearly impossible to conquer. But for Madeline, this climb is more than a physical challenge. It's a metaphor for her inner battle, where she must face the darker side of herself. Personified as a shadowy double known as part of me. Throughout the journey, you'll meet a cast of memorable side characters. Theo, a charming companion, a quirky old woman living on the mountain, and surreal visions that constantly drag Madeline down. But Celeste delivers a powerful message. We don't need to erase our darkness. We need to accept it and learn to live with it. Visually, the game embraces a minimalist pixel art style, but its color palette, lighting, and effects evoke strong emotions. The soundtrack by Lena Raine has been praised as one of the finest game OSTs of the decade, at once soothing, tense, and profoundly moving during emotional climaxes. Don't be fooled by the cute pixel look though. This game is brutally tough and surprisingly addictive. The controls are simple jumping, wall climbing, and an 8-direction dash, but from this minimal toolkit, Celeste builds hundreds of intricately designed levels. These levels aren't just tough, they're clever, using momentum, precision, and advanced techniques that players often invent themselves. Yet the game never feels unfair. Checkpoints are placed intelligently, resets are instant, and every failure is treated as part of the learning curve, not a punishment. Each stage feels like solving a movement puzzle, with difficulty escalating until the notorious B and C sides push you to master every skill, adapt to every terrain, and accept countless retries. After Celeste's massive success, another indie team returned with a different kind of nightmare. Following up their 2008 hit Spelunky, developer Derek Yu and Mossmouth released Spelunky 2 in 2020. This time, players control Anna Spelunky, the daughter of the first game's protagonist, as she explores the moon in search of her missing parents. After a mysterious excavation, at first glance, Spelunky 2's cartoon visuals might remind you of weekend shows like Tom and Jerry or Gravity Falls, but don't be fooled. This is one of the most ruthless platformers out there. And when I say everything can kill you, I mean it traps enemies, allies, even your own pets. Every element in the game can and will end your run in the blink of an eye. Each attempt is procedurally generated, forcing you to make split-second decisions, master precise controls, and learn through repetition and failure. To make things even harsher, you only get one life per run. Die once, and it's back to the very beginning. Behind its deceptively charming art style lies one of the most complex and unforgiving roguelike platforming systems in indie gaming. But when the stars align and everything finally clicks, the traps avoided the enemies, beaten the chaos somehow under control. The sense of triumph is unmatched. Bubba Is You is a unique puzzle game by Finnish indie developer Arvi Takari, first released in 2019. It made a splash with players and critics, thanks to its inventive breakthrough design. With crayon-like visuals and a cute soundtrack, Bubba Is You looks like a logic game for kids. In reality, it's one of the most brain-twisting puzzle games ever made, where words are the rules, and breaking those rules is the key to progress. In short, you change how the game works by pushing words around. In Baba Is You, each level's rules appear as word blocks. Things like Baba Is You, wall is stop, flag is win. And when you change their order, you change the rules wall is stop into wall is you. To control the wall or make rock is win, so the rock becomes the goal. This single idea blossoms into hundreds of puzzles, most with multiple solutions. Unlike the action games above, Baba Is You doesn't test reflexes. It demands abstract, non-linear logic, lateral thinking, and a willingness to bend the world's systems. Instead of repeating fixed patterns, Number 6 is another Crab's Treasure, an adventure Souls-like game by Agro. Crab development ran from the original concept in 2016 to its full release in 2024. You dive into a colorful undersea world as Krill, a hermit crab, living a normal life until his beloved shell is stolen. Without protection, Krill sets out on a tough journey to reclaim what's his. The bright art and adorable lead can make you forget this is a true Souls-like stamina-based combat. Dangerous enemies and harsh penalties for failure, you'll learn to dodge, block and parry with precision in tense fights. But what really sets another Crab's Treasure apart is the shell system. Since Krill lost his shell, he must scavenge trash from the ocean, soda cans, boba cups, and more to craft new protection. Each shell grants different abilities and stats to support varied playstyles. It's a witty, satirical reminder of ocean pollution and the impact of human waste on sea life. The contrast between the vibrant seascape and the game's punishing difficulty is a big part of its charm. It never takes itself too seriously, but the challenge certainly does. Next, Death's Door is an action-adventure by Acid Nerve, an independent studio in Manchester, UK, created by Mark Foster and David Fenn. Inspired by The Legend of Zelda, Dark Souls, and Studio Ghibli, the game uses an isometric viewpoint and pairs simple controls with real depth. Wrapped in colorful, deceptively cute character designs, you play as a soul-reaping crow, exploring strange lands and facing undying creatures. Blending classic Zelda structure with Souls-like tension, Death's Door demands focus, quick reactions, and adaptation. Enemies attack fiercely, healing is limited, and every fight forces careful decisions. Behind the charming art lies not only sharp gameplay, but also a thoughtful story about death and purpose, delivering surprisingly emotional moments. In a game that looks light on the surface, no list like this can skip Cuphead. Developed by brothers Chad and Jared Moldenhauer, founders of Studio MDH, are in Canada. Its core idea sprang from a love of 1930s animation, especially Fleischer Studios, and early Walt Disney shorts. The game launched on Windows and Xbox One 2017, macOS 2018, Nintendo Switch 2019, and PS4 2020. Cuphead oozes retro charm, all rubber hose, limbs, and jazzy tunes. But behind the playful vibe is a world built around ferocious boss fights. Each enemy has multiple phases, complex patterns, and can end a run in seconds. You will die a lot. Winning requires precision, pattern memory, and sharp reflexes earned through many retries. Despite the pain, it feels fair, like the classic arcade spirit, tough, demanding, and endlessly rewarding. Cuphead proves a game doesn't need blood and darkness to be scary. It can be adorable and merciless at the same time. So this is all game have kawaii vibe. Pretty outside, hardcore inside. Would you like to try it?